Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second panel of Qatar Creates Public Talks. And today we have the pleasure to hear something about heritage unveiled, cultural and historical legacy of jewelry houses. With us, we have a wonderful panel of speakers, and our moderator is Manuel Arnaut, Editor-in-Chief of Vogue Arabia, who will introduce the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the early wake-up call. We are excited to share this morning with all of you. I'm Manuel Arnaut, I'm the Editor-in-Chief of Vogue Arabia, and we are here today to speak about the importance of heritage for jewelry houses, of course, on the context of the new exhibition hosted at M7, Chaumet and Nature. So I would like to start by introducing our esteemed panelists. Violaine Bigot, who is the Heritage Director at Chaumet. Then we have Maha Al Sulaiti, the Director of M7. And Benoit Repellin, Senior Director, Auctioneer at Philips. I think that to start this conversation, it's important to give a little bit of an historical background and to share some milestones of Chaumet, which is one of my favorite brands, jewelry brands, and you guys will understand why. So the brand was founded in 1780 by Marie-Etienne Ito, who was initially the apprentice of the jeweler of Marie Antoinette. In 1804, Chaumet became the official jeweler of the imperial court, having as clients Napoleon and the Empress Josephine. And in 1820, the brand started to focus on romanticism and jewelry inspired by nature, which is exactly why we are here today. Violaine, I hope that I didn't mess up any numbers. Was it okay? Yes?
Okay.
Great, so I'm a good student. So I would like to start by asking you, so in a moment where we are so obsessed with modernity and technology, why is it important for a jewelry brand like Chaumet to speak about heritage?
So, I would say that heritage is really about sharing what is important to the maison, what made this maison so unique. It's its history. It's also the craftsmanship. And all of it, this heritage is helping to keep a balance between this chase of technology, of modernity, but still the DNA of the maison, who we were, who we are today, who we want to be tomorrow. And a good example, for example, will be, I think, the designs. For example, the designers, the design studio, they are now they are using a lot of new technological tools to draw, and it's good. It's helping them to create. But we are a maison that have a beautiful history also with gouache. We have more than 66,000 of drawings in our archives. And this is something that we want to preserve. We want to preserve also this know-how, this savoir-faire. So because of this heritage, because of talking of this heritage, we also ask the designers to still do a gouache, a final gouache. They can use any technology they want, but at some point they will have to preserve this savoir-faire. And I will say also that heritage is not the opposite of modernity and technology, because first, technology can be very, very helpful for heritage, to understand our heritage, to use our heritage, or to exhibit our heritage. And also when you look into the heritage, it's incredible how much of modernity you actually found in this heritage. Modernity in the designs, modernity in the way of wearing the jewels, and very inspiring creation of our people.
Brands speak a lot about the archive. What is this archive? It looks like a very kind of like Indiana Jones kind of thing. Like, what is in this archive, and in what way is the archive utilized? And do you have any kind of like interesting story about a piece that was really done sourcing some sort of like technique, or of course creatively we know that it's easy to be inspired by the archive, but like technically?
What are the archives? What was your first question? Oh, this archive.
And who has the keys of this archive?
I am. I have the key. No, the maison has the key. This archives, it's, so I said, drawings, 66,000 of drawings. more or less. Photographies, glass plates, more than 30,000 glass plate photography, 50,000 photographies. We have invoices. We have the pearl book, so all the books detailing the orders that was made with pearls. Same with the emeralds, with the ruby, with any kind of stones. We have all these documents that will tell something about either who used to work for Chaumet, or also how we were thinking our strategy to go to UK, to go to US, to go to India or to New York. So this is basically this archives. It's 600 meters of archives. So to give you an idea, if you put all the paper just next to each other, it's twice the size of the Eiffel Tower. So it's a lot. And we are still working on it to understand it, because I wish we already knew everything, or maybe not. I don't wish that, but because it's we learn every day, and what we learn every day is also the inspiration, for sure. So as you say, creative inspiration, yes, the 240 years of creation, it's so inspiring for the designer. Because even though when you think that you want to create something that was never been done before, you go to Chaumet, and I'm pretty sure that I can find it. It has been done before. But also, as you said, the techniques. Because the techniques in jewels, it's evolving. It evolves because of economy, because of society, because of fashion, because we discover new metal or new stones. But when you choose a new technique, the risk is to forget what we used to do, how we used to work. And being a jeweler in a maison like Chaumet, with this history, you can have access to antique jewels. For example, in 2022, we had a beautiful loan. It was for restoration, incredible, very large brooch made of 3 years of wheat that a client brought to us. It was made in 1910. And her daughter was about to get married, and this brooch, she wanted to put it in her hair. It was beautiful. So we asked the workshop to restore it. And the jeweler who worked on this restoration, he also was working on an incredible necklace. I forgot to put the slide. On this necklace, yet you can see here. This necklace, when he had the drawing, he was saying, okay, it's beautiful, but it's very, very large. How can I make it ears of wheat so long, so large, still comfortable, and not like a rigid nature? We want something to move. And he had the answer when he discovered this brooch, because the ears of wheat it was not a trembleuse system, but it was like in such a delicate setting. It was actually moving, but still solid enough, because well, it was in 1910. It was still a beautiful condition today. So he found the answer for this necklace that we made last year. In this antique brooch.
I don't think it's very large. It's perfect size.
No, large is not. It's not a bad.
Regarding now playing a little bit devil's advocate, in what way, or is there a way that this heritage also can stagnate the creativity, because it creates a very clear framework, so you know that the maison is about this topic, that topic, and the other topic. What if the designers want to do something else that it's completely different?
It's a good question. So we all agree, heritage, beautiful source of inspiration. I would say that heritage can't restrain creativity. It's more about how you use heritage that can actually restrain creativity. For example, Napoleon was one of our first clients with Josephine, first important one, I will say, and he chose the bee as a symbol, the symbol of society working together around one powerful. So we are creating bee since 1804. It doesn't mean that we have to do just bee, that we are not allowed to look at other kind of animals. It just means that because we have this history with bee, it helps. It is helping us to pull the threads, I would say. Imagine, okay, what can we work with bee? We can work also with color, with different kind of stones to represent the shape of the body, the shape of the wings. Bee is nature. We want to preserve this nature today. What can we do to preserve this nature? Bee, it's also the beehives. It's also the honeycomb. Okay, what about the honeycomb? How can we work with that? So, but it's very important. So it means that when a client will see something with a bee, or honeycomb, he will think about Chaumet. But it doesn't mean that Chaumet can't do something else.
Benoit, from the 107 pieces that were unveiled in the exhibition, and by the way, some of them were never shown to public. It was for the first time that they were publicly shown. What would be your dream piece to auction and why?
Well, that was a very difficult question because I would love to have an auction just with all the pieces from the exhibition. I'm not sure the collectors on Chaumet would agree with that. And I had the chance to handle some of the pieces actually, because some of the pieces were offered at auction and they were acquired at auction. So I had the chance to handle the Murat Natural Pearl and Diamond Tiara, the Denersmarck Emerald and Diamond Tiara as well, one part of the collection of the National Museum of Qatar, the other one part of a private collection in Doha, or the Natural Pearl and Diamond Brooch, Holy Branch, that is part now of the Chaumet collection. But if I had to choose one, I think I would take probably the one you mentioned before, actually, the Crève-Cœur diamond tiara. So with these 6 ears of wheat. So they were ordered by Napoleon in 1810 from Nito to thank the Comte de Maulois for helping to arrange the marriage between Emperor Napoleon and the Archduchess Marie-Louise of Austria. So there is a huge historical background, and then in 1910, Jean de Crèvecoeur went back to Chaumet and asked Chaumet to arrange the 6 ears of wheat as a tiara, but that can be worn also as a devant corsage or as brooches. And I really like the versatility of jewels. I think it's, with a jewel like this one, you have really 1810, 1910, you have the imperial provenance, and then it stayed in a noble family for over 200 years. And then also really the versatility of the jewels, the fact that one can play with the jewels. I think jewels need to be worn, they need to be played with, and the tiara is not something you can wear every day, so having the chance to wear it as a devant corsage or brooches is something also very interesting, and what clients are very looking for at the moment, collectors. So I think if it was to come at auction, it will reach a very good price, but same thing, I think Violaine will not agree. So
for us to understand a little bit how your work really happens, so how do the pieces come to you? And do you have any like exciting story that you could share about any kind of like find or any piece that you were so excited with?
I mean, there is a lot of exciting stories. So how do pieces come to us at auction? So we have people contacting us, Philips, because they know the name. They want to. It usually starts with the valuation. They want to know the value of their jewels. So sometimes there is not an intention of selling. It can be for purposes of like estate or for insurance purposes or just out of curiosity. Jewels that have been sitting in a safe for 20 years and they think, oh, maybe I should know the value of it and maybe I'll part with it. So we have people contacting us. We also know some collections, so we do reach out to collectors. Some people also who already bought from us, and we know that now the piece has increased in value, so we can also contact these clients saying, should you wish to part with your jewels, I think now is a good time to sell because they've increased in value compared to the time when you bought it. And we also do valuation days, so I travel around the world to meet with collectors. We have offices also around the world, so we do these valuation days, inviting our clients to come and show the jewels, and then we give a complimentary evaluation, and then they decide yes or no to put it at auction. And we can sometimes have amazing finds. I mean, one of my probably most fond memories was the Beaumont Parma auction, when I went to a safe. And when they open some of the fitted cases from the 19th century, and you have a little unwritten note saying, pearls from the Queen Marie-Antoinette, I mean, en français, perles de la Reine Marie-Antoinette, as a French person, you have like, your heart is beating like very, very strongly. And it was an amazing auction. But it can also happen that people just ask for an advice. I had someone close to me that asked if she could wear the sapphire ring that she had from her mother, because a jeweler said that the sapphire was about to break. And she said, like, is it safe to wear it? It's the engagement ring of my mother. And when she passed away, different jewelers gave a valuation of 2,000 to 4,000 euros. But then she said that they warned her that the sapphire was about to split in two. And I looked at the son, I say, no, there's no chance that it will break, except if you really hit it hard on the angle of a table 10 times exactly where the fissure is, because there was an inclusion that was slightly reaching the surface. But I said also, I think it's a very nice stone. And she asked me, do you think I should have it insured? I said, well, for sapphires, we need to know the origin of the stone. If it's a Kashmir sapphire, if it's a Burmese sapphire, if it's a Ceylon one, etc. The origin of the stone really impacts the value. So I said, if it's a Ceylon stone, the estimate will be 30 to 50,000. If it's Kashmir, will be more in the 400 to 600,000 in US dollars. So she said, okay, well, I need to know then the origin. So we sent it to the laboratory, and it came back as Kashmir with no indications of eating. So then she was embarrassed, saying, now I know the value. Even if you told me it's safe to wear it, I would be scared of wearing it. So it took some time, because obviously it was the engagement ring of her mother, and it's very emotional. And I think with a lot of jewelry, there's a huge emotional link to it, because it was given for special occasions by special people. And very often when we look at jewels, the clients give us the whole background, saying it was my mother's ring, or it was given by my father for for my birth, etc. So it took her some time to decide to sell it, and at the end she sold it, and it sold for more than 800,000 US dollars. And she said, well, 2000, when my mother passed away, my siblings said, oh, keep it, it's months engagement ring, and anyway the value is quite low, because they had these 3 valuations of 2,000 to 4,000. So knowing how much it sold for, she said, now I need to split with my 5 siblings. But it was a great surprise. I think knowing the origin of the stones, knowing the provenance also, really has an impact on the final price.
Thank God she didn't hit that ring 10 times like you suggested. Thank God she didn't listen to you. In the context of auctions, are there trends like as in fashion, trends that make a piece more popular at a certain time?
So there are, but I think a jewel needs to be very typical of its era. Art Deco pieces have been very popular at auction. I think people are quite used to the Art Deco period, and it's something that is easy to wear. But we see also like the 60s and 70s that really came back also into fashion, and more recently the 80s and 90s are really having a big comeback. So I think it does follow a bit the trends of fashion. I think when one buys a jewel at auction and they want to make the right buy, it has to be a jewel that is typical of its period. If it's typical of the Belle Epoque, the 20s, the Art Deco, the 50s, 60s, etc., then it will hold its value, because it is part of the art history of jewelry as well.
Maha, when we were speaking on the phone initially about this talk, you told us that M7 is much more than a museum. So my first question is why, of course, and then I would like to understand also in what way does themes related to heritage make sense in the context of this ethos of what M7 is?
Yeah, first of all, we're actually not a museum. I think exhibitions is a big part. It's a crucial part of what we do in our mission. Over the years, we've presented blockbuster exhibitions with big brands in fashion, in furniture design. We've partnered with leading institutions, as well as local artists and designers. I think it's really critical to present a very diverse area of exhibitions to our audience. It's really important to also mention that within all these exhibitions, we have programming that we do, and that's really essentially our mission is to support emerging designers. We have programs, educational programs, as well as creating opportunities, a partnership with the industry. Why these exhibitions are important to do it within a creative hub, I think for all the reasons that Violaine mentioned, I think understanding that a brand or an artist has a story to tell and a narrative that goes beyond just the product. There's a history behind it. There's linkages. You talked about the bees. I think being able to recognize a brand for what it is and the craftsmanship that goes into it. There's a lot of lessons learned within what we present. And this year we opened, of course, in collaboration with Chaumet, we opened the Chaumet in Nature for the first time. That's our first jewelry exhibition. And we have, for the first time as well, a contemporary art exhibition. Whilst they may look very, very different, there are a lot of commonalities within them. And it's really understanding, again, the narrative, the brand ethos or the artist ethos, like what that means. And it gives us a lot of material to work with in terms of our programming and educational workshops.
There were actually two Qatari artists that were engaged in this exhibition, in the section that linked Chaumet with the history of pearls, which is also an important cultural thing here for Qatar. Can you tell me about these collaborations that happened through this exhibition with the Qatari artists?
Yeah, I think it's really important to point out the really unique relationship that we've built with Chaumet. And I think it started well before this exhibition. About a year ago, they came to us and they wanted us to help them find a designer for the logo, the Arabic logo. This is the logo that now you see across all the Middle East. It's designed by Qatari designer Zainab al-Shibani. Alongside this exhibition, there are a lot of opportunities within that were created for local designers. We have Shogil Mana did an installation of the pearls. And I think this is a really great example of how an international brand can develop for the cultural context that they're in. And understanding that, giving opportunities and investing in developing the local capacity is really crucial. And I think our relationship will continue beyond this exhibition. And we're very thrilled, actually, to announce very soon the design of a tiara that will be produced by Chaumet.
Amazing. Congratulations. One of the things that quite exciting about this exhibition was that to understand what the word nature means for Chaumet. So while we were expecting just to see flowers and to see bees, we also saw horses, foxes, and we even saw a very special map of Qatar. So Violaine, I would like to ask you, how did you guys compile all these pieces and to explain us this diversity in terms of what nature really means for Chaumet? I think that let's start with the map of Qatar, because I think it's the most lovely story and it was really opening the exhibition.
How we compile all these tools together? It was first with the Chaumet collection, and also because of the generosity of Qatar, because it's important to say that it's not easy and it's quite rare to have a country that is so willing to actually work with a brand like that and to share their collection. So it was beautiful, this collaboration. And when Robin Langley, so the general manager for Middle East, called me last year saying, okay, Violaine, we have to go to Qatar. We have to bring the collection, the heritage to Doha. I said, well, great. Let's start in the archives. This is my Indiana Jones side. So let's start with the archives. What happened between Chaumet and Qatar before? And so we discovered few orders, and one was quite striking. It was this photo that you can see behind me. It's a photo of the map of Qatar. And we learned that the photo on the left and right was quite of the photo that that students in Qatar have in their book for geography. And there is a photo in the middle. It's a black and white photo of a map of Qatar that was ordered in 1974 by the King of Morocco, Hassan II. So we tried to understand what was this order. We just had a black and white photo. We knew that it was red jasper, blue aventurine, gold, but we didn't know what it was for what it was. So we realized that it was a gift from Hassan II that he made in 1975 to Sheikh Khalifa bin Hamad Al Thani. So now that we knew that, I told Robin, and then we told the general collection, okay, what can we do? Do you know where it is? No. Okay, and but we really wanted this one because I thought it was the perfect introduction for this exhibition because it displays the nature of Qatar, the water, the earth, and it displays a bond that was with Qatar, but also with Morocco, with France, and with Chaumet. And one day, Robin was on social media, working on Instagram, and he sent me a photo. He was saying like, well, I think I know where it is now. It was in his office, and you can see behind him the photo of the map. So it's this one. So we were really moved actually to see it in plain color.
I'm getting very scared of you guys. You guys are like detectives.
Yeah, exactly, detectives. So we were so excited to see it, not in black and white, to see the strong color, to see the beauty of it. So we are very happy to know that it was still here in Doha. But it was the other question was how we can access to it. And again, Qatar Museum, everyone was so helpful to manage to have this map exhibited for the very first time in the entrance. So we actually rethink the entrance of the exhibition to be sure that it was the very first thing that we will see. And yes, we received just 2 days before the exhibition, the opening, and we were very, very excited about it.
Bravo, bravo, Robin, also for this incredible find. Now, the second part was to speak a little bit about the diversity of what we've seen in the exhibition, and this idea that I think that because also there's this very strong link of Chaumet to Napoleon and to the Empress. People think that it's a brand that it's really just about this kind of like romance and fairy tale, but the pieces that we saw in the exhibition prove exactly the contrary, that it's a brand about creativity, about being experimental. There was a fox head, there was a bowl made of lapis lazuli with a flying horse. So tell us about this range, that it's so exciting.
The range is exciting. It's because we are so lucky to be a maison with this kind of history, but also modernity through all the years. We are always surprised, and sometimes even it's hard to tell the date of a jewels when we see the drawings. When you see a jewels made to be worn on the shoulder that is on the shape of an octopus, you don't think that it was made in 1890. Well, it was. So it was surprising. It's really this idea of range, inspiration, and of creativity. And so this horse was also discovered and exhibited for the first time here. It's in a private collection in Paris. It was bought in 1975 by Qatar as a gift to a French family. And this is so creative. You have a perfect craftsmanship. This horse made of gold is incredibly well made. It has a wing. It is the creativity of Chaumet. It's beyond even imagination. I really strongly invite you to go to the exhibition just to see the size of it. So you have the animals, and when you speak about nature, you first think about the flower, but it's also animals. It's also the inspiration coming from the water, coming from the pearls, and it's also the inspiration coming from the sky. And the sky is so strong at Chaumet. So strong. First, in France, when you are a jeweler, you have to have a marker marks. So marks that you put on the gold or to identify that it was made by you. Joseph Chaumet chose his initial, J and C, a star above and a moon below. And a lot of his creation was inspired by sun, moon, or stars. And it's another jewel that I discovered a few months just before the exhibition. The owner didn't even knew that it was made by Chaumet. It was made in 1898, and it was a beautiful hazard and detective work to find it. So it's it's a very first time that I did exhibited here. And it really shows the creativity. So inspiration coming from the sky, here's the moon. A beautiful little bow, delicate bow made around it. That is quite also of a Chaumet aesthetic DNA. And you have incredible Indian diamonds. When you have the full history, you know that these Indian diamonds were brought to France by his ancestor. He was a general of the Grand Mughal army in 1780. He came back to France. He received these diamonds for when they had their first daughter after more than 10 miscarriages, they finally have had a daughter, and the Indian prince came with these diamonds as a gift. They came back to Paris with these diamonds and jewels, and during all the 19th century, they are going back to Chaumet to set these Indian diamonds in incredible French Parisian style jewels.
Before I ask if the audience has any questions, I wanted to make a final question because I think that the time is unfortunately almost up, although I feel that we would have still hours to speak about these interesting topics. For all of you, and maybe I can start with Benoit, we are in a part of the world, and also, let's say, also I think that it's the same in Asia, where there's a very affluent and young population. How do we make these topics and these big words like auctions and heritage and, you know, these very heavy words, how do we make these topics interesting and in a way cool for the young population? So how do we engage the very young digitalized people in this universe that I think that maybe for part of the youth might be considered boring or not cool?
It's because they've never tried auction. When you start, you can't stop. So I think actually one of the main things getting the young generations and even like a broader audience is education, and the heritage part is very, very important. We see it more and more at auction, because I'm talking about my part, that these global exhibitions about jewelry and these heritage exhibitions bring a lot of attention from the public. They're always very, very popular, and then people get more into the history of the jewels. They look back at what inspired the design, and I think we saw it with the Years of Wheat, for example. Understanding the 1810 Years of Wheat makes you understand the collection of 2015, I think it was. So there is all this education that is very important. And then obviously in a very digital world, we do more on social media, on our website. We have an app where you can follow the sales and bid. And I think COVID actually played a big part in that, because a lot of people were a bit bored at home, like most of us, and a lot of people discovered auction and how fun it can be. And I think we really reached also a new audience with that. And there are also different ways of wearing it. We have an auction on the 11th of November in Geneva, and we did a photo shooting that is very contemporary with antique and vintage pieces. So it's also how you can play with the jewels and giving ideas of a younger generation that jewels of the past can still be worn today in a very contemporary way. And jewels are meant to be worn, so like the wearers can really play with it. But we also see more and more collectors that really see jewelry as a collectible category, the same way as they would see art. So there have always been, obviously, important jewelry collections, the royal collections, the King of France, and like all the royal ones. And then we had, there was the Duchess of Windsor, Barbara Hutton, to mention a few. But today we see more, and also more and more in Asia and the Middle East, people really seeing jewelry as a collectible category and being interested in the past of the pieces and really looking at the quality of the stones and building a collection that can be also worn.
But when you say to collect, is it from an investment point of view or from creative as a creative exercise?
I mean, the reasons are very different from one to another. I think when people look at an investment, they need to like the piece they buy anyway, because you will not make a good investment if you're just looking at the intrinsic value. You need to like what you buy, and I think it's the same thing with art. A good investment is when you really enjoy the piece, you keep it for a number of years, and then when you decide it's time to part with it, then probably the market will respond positively to it as well.
And Maha, how do you guys bring the younger generation to M7 to dive into these topics?
Well, I think the brand Chaumet is a really good example. It's very relatable today. It has a lot of young clienteles. And when you visit an exhibition like this, you see actually there's a lot more to the brand, and that naturally has an appeal. I think, like I said, with everything that we do, we work with students, teachers that come into these exhibitions, and try to delve into deeper into them, into what they're presenting in terms of artifacts and understanding the craftsmanship, the work that goes into it. I think there's a lot of interest today in the industry when it comes to crafts. There's a lot of, at least what we're doing, there's a focus on that, on preserving some of the crafts that we have, making sure that we continue that. We see a lot of the big brands doing the same thing, going back to craftsmanship and working with artisans, showcasing that. I think the more we kind of advance, the more important it is to pay attention to these things, because I think inevitably, I think as human beings, we like to make things, we like to see things that have value and that can live with us for a long time. And it can only happen when a human being is involved in the making of it. So I think there is a change. It is, I think, considered cool. And, I took my 7-year-old son to see the exhibition, the 2 exhibitions, and he said, I didn't know that something like that could be so cool. He actually used that word. So I think, planting the seed early on with our children is a very important factor of preserving that.
But we also need, I think, to reach this audience in a way that is accessible. Maybe do something on TikTok. So is this something that you guys also think about it? How do you communicate these exhibitions and these key messages?
Yeah, I think the way we are structured as M7, we're not a museum. We're not intimidating in terms of you're just going to come and see an object. It goes beyond that. We're more accessible in terms of children come to us all the time. Mm-hmm. We work with creatives all the time. So in that sense, I think it becomes, the space has many different other elements. So we have a concept store, we have a small production for designers, we have a co-working space. So the footfall is different, the audience is different anyways. So when they see an exhibition like that, it's more appealing than actually going to kind of a traditional museum. Talks like this are important, to kind of shed light on these things. Working with, we have our first masterclass actually in jewelry design coming up, and these things are important. They kind of influence the next generations.
Perfect. So I'm now going. I'm sorry, I have to ask now if our lovely audience has any question. Does anyone want to ask anything? Any questions? Don't be shy. We are all cool. I just learned now that we are so cool. No? Well, that means that we made a great job, that we did a great job, and we explained everything in perfection. So thank you very much for being here today, and thank you to the lovely audience for joining us. And looking forward to see you all again. Thank you.